so much to cover, I feel. And right,
Yeah,
I
no,
feel we can
no.
go on so many
I
different
just said to
topics.
Charlie this morning, I want to change the topic because overnight into this morning, we had another topic that I thought, oh, I'm starting to really understand. Charlie's making more sense to me on this topic of momentum and speed and version controlling and just building momentum. So I thought we should teach that. So and I think we should talk about it because I feel it's very timely. But then we have another topic that we wanted to talk about. So, it's one of those, we have too many good things to talk about.
So the title that we made for this class was around intensity plus consistency.
Yeah.
And the notion of plus, because a lot of people say, consistency beats intensity. No, they both really matter. Now, I'll tell you a gazillion stories that we have in our background that you really have to understand both matter. However, most people lack consistency.
Right.
Which is why the memes and everything always says that. And there are so many elements where, yeah.
We would always say consistency over intensity. It doesn't mean no intensity. You do need both, but I think it's interesting why you need both.
Yes.
When we're talking about the Andy, I should go into that.
Yeah. So we have that in here, but I always
think about what we're going to do right now.
But no, that's not true. We have slides, but we're about to change topic to momentum, which I think is a even more interesting topic. But just really quick on the intensity of the momentum.
Yeah.
You know what happens in intensity? I was just walking up the stairs telling Megan, I think most of us are like adrenaline junkies. I think of intensity as like what gives you adrenaline. And so we go and pursue kind of this, I want the next hit. And so you're going after intense, and the sum total of that usually is nothing. Megan used to always say, you have something, you're like, oh my God, that was a life-changing experience.
Right.
And usually, I think you would say it was a week-changing experience.
That's the reality.
And that's the reality. When you audit it, and so then you can flip to the other side, seesaw to the other side and say, screw the intense. So I'm going to try to not swear. So put children's word synonyms as much as I can. But
what's another word?
Is screw a bad word? No, it's not a curse, right?
That's bad. PG-13.
PG-13.
Yeah. I think PG-13 might be okay.
Yeah. I got to pick some of the British words because you guys use words and then
try not to go to the F. I mean the R-rated.
But there are confusions in British because you use the word gutted like in both a good and bad way, and I'm like,
no,
everything is gutted.
It's bad.
Is it always bad?
I was gutted.
They're always gutted, but I'm like, you guys are so dramatic with it. I don't even understand what it means. When someone is gutted here, it's like, your guts are hanging out. It's bad. But sorry, that was totally tangent. But no, the whole aspect of intensity, like I think we overdo like looking for the perfect phrase, the perfect why, the perfect vision, the perfect statement. And so we're obsessed with finding those, and it plays such a big role, but it only really works when it's paired with consistency. And yet, what you'll find is the real hard work is building the consistency. Most people fail in the consistency. Now, the intensity does matter because if you don't have it, everyone will look at you like, that makes no sense. That's so boring. I mean, there's all these elements where the intensity helps you understand, helps you explain to others. But so we're going to come back to that. But can we talk about the momentum discussion? Because I think that's so interesting, relevant, and they're connected because most people do not take advantage of momentum.
How we do that.
Right?
Yeah. We don't
so they don't take advantage of momentum. They don't know how to generate momentum. They're always looking to latch onto someone else's momentum, right? And you'll see that those who actually do generate momentum don't want like leeches latching on. They want others who are generating momentum. And then you kind of want to almost super momentum by pairing together. And I say this and, take the leeches people do use leeches for healing things too. So it's good at times, but my point being.
Can I share this with you guys? So there's a bunch of stuff we're trying to do. We're moving fast. And remember that Charlie and I are really only a full week back in post acquittal, post our vacations and post this massive event we ran last week. So we're kind of like, it's almost like we're getting into our consistent business as usual and kind of wanting to ramp up. So that's why I think this topic is kind of timely, so Charlie's moving really fast on things. Even at 6 a.m, I wake up, I see all this stuff. I'm like, what the? Really aggressive. And so then I thought, some of the things I thought were moving a little bit too fast. And aren't we going to have some quality control issues? Like, don't we need a little more time before we make that call? And is that a little bit too abrupt to say, if we don't make a decision this week, we're not doing it. Like all these things, I'm like, I'm trying to process, like, there's a balance of quality in doing the right thing versus I want to move fast. So, and so that Charlie had written this morning, share with Kathy too, which is about hesitation and delay. Because my instinct was, I think we should not make this call so quickly, right? Like, let's slow down, maybe even give it another week, or maybe it's better to start it in September. Like, that feeling of like, I just want to buy a little time. I feel like that's like a very natural thing. I just want to buy a little bit of a time to figure out, is this the right thing? Because this is happening very quickly. I don't know if does this relate to you guys or not? Because I feel this a lot where I'm like, I need a little more window to figure out, like, is this the right thing we should be doing? Big commitment. So you were saying, Charlie, that hesitation and delay is always based on wanting like you said a perfecter plan, but let's just say a more perfect plan.
Well, I put perfecter on purpose. I actually wrote on purpose. Not that wasn't, she makes fun of my grammar at times, but that's because I grew up not speaking any language actually, but because I don't speak Korean, I don't speak, but
nobody spoke a language.
But hand signs, But anyways,
okay.
What was it?
Hesitation delay is always based on wanting a perfecter plan.
Yes. I wrote perfecter because the idea of perfect, I think at some point we can all accept that it doesn't really exist. And that's bad, right? Everyone says, perfect plan, bad. But we want perfecter, you want it more perfect. So we wait.
Right.
Thinking waiting will make perfect.
Right.
Right. And that never, ever, rarely happens.
Yeah.
Right.
And yes, and I think your point is that, and what Kathy's response, it's like, it's so trained to think a little more time and we'll get it right or come up with a better idea. It's similar to thinking it'll get easier with more time versus hard mode all the time. Less time is bad because it won't get easier, right? That's a desire to move slowly to get it right. That's the same thing as being like a perfectionist. Like I want to get it right. So you believe by going slower, I'm going to get it right. And so that's why I feel like that desire to move slow, Kathy's saying, get it right. You can fall into somebody else's rhythm. You're waiting now for them. And that's why a lot of stuff doesn't happen, right? Mm-hmm. So that's the whole point, is that's why you don't get momentum, is you think it's going to get better and you'll make it better the longer you wait and kind of, you think you're going to make it better. I think your point that Charlie was making this morning is that by launching something, that's how you build momentum. But it has to feel uncomfortable. You have to feel like you're doing it a little bit faster than you want to do it, right? It's like, I don't think even for you, Charlie, you don't want more time, but you're like, you've conditioned yourself to say more time is going to kill this idea. More time is not going to make it better, right? Launch something and then you'll learn how to make it better. But we're waiting. Is that
so why I'm correcting it? Everyone thinks it's about what narrative is he saying in his head, right? Yeah. So people are like, well, Charlie, you're saying this. And I'm like, it's not about narrative. This is the falsity that everyone falls into, which is why people write down a quote, they reread that quote, they print it out, put it in front of them, and you will see nothing you do will change. You will watch the same situations pass by you. And this is the part where there's a rep in changing literally how you feel on something that is so counterintuitive that the other side has to feel dangerous, and not like might be bad, like dangerous. And I use that example with the World Cup when you see these, great teams like, sorry, Sherry, Egypt, and, whether it was Senegal or the people like 2-0 and how they lost those games. The notion that I think we all have as human beings that, losing something feels worse than the greed of gaining something. It's twice as strong a muscle. So the minute you win some points, you're now so obsessed of not losing. We've seen people in our community, they get invited in and they spend so much energy worried they're going to lose the seat or lose like being in the inner, invite or circle. And instead of actually making great things happen, they're spending all their energy thinking about losing it. So they start to play safe, right? Or play not to lose. Preserve what I have because, oh my God, this is more than I had. So I'm going to preserve my 2 goals. Right? Egypt, or like preserve my chips. And the other side feels more dangerous, right? It just feels dangerous. Playing offense and keep pushing. Oh my God. Like there's a part of, we got lucky. We're up 2-0 or we're this. I don't want to mess it up. I don't want to F it up. Right? Yeah. That's human nature. And it's so counterintuitive that to rep so that you will train yourself to feel that playing not to lose. The minute you feel like, oh my God, I don't want to lose what I have, is actually more dangerous. Meaning you have to actually condition yourself through enough reps that when it happens and that feeling comes up, it has that tingly deja vu that this is dangerous.
Right.
Now, that doesn't mean you go reckless like Aaron, right? And go on the other side and always shoot. No, it's saying because everyone else around you will be saying, preserve the win, hold on to it. The amount of noise you will be surrounded by that makes it seem like a one-way decision, right? Just only this, not the other one. But if you train yourself in those moments, you could have agility. I say could because most people don't get to this place. And agility means that I have taken the counterintuitive move, repped it so much when everyone else is thinking, like it's obvious what we do here. Don't do this. Like you've trained yourself to see, wait, this is dangerous. The mob is all going here and your instinct might be, oh, danger, like as in death, danger. And so what it does is it makes you have the millisecond pause and you look at and say, okay, like here's a real decision point. And it's not easy. And it's really not easy when the mob's pushing you towards one direction, conventional wisdom. But when you build that agility, you will just make better choices.
Yeah.
Most lack that agility. And so I'm saying this even.
You're saying it's not a narrative. It's about conditioning yourself.
And so I say the same thing on momentum. And, Meghan read the first part of the text, but I was telling her, if you look at some of the other things, like, sorry, I'll start off memory, but creating Community Online Academy. We created it like Monday was the national shutdown for COVID. Nobody goes to work. We launched the Community Online Academy for free.
On Thursday.
That's like so few days, 3 days to plan and boom, we're launching.
I'm thinking you were crazy. Like, what are we doing? Like, you know what I mean?
Not only did we have to get all the instructors, all the people, but also even technically to put it on Perks at Work, which we've never actually done something like this.
Yeah.
Like
we'd never done it. I mean, everything had been running in person in our New York office. We moved everything online, all the leadership work.
Not only online, but put it on Business One's platform, which Perks at Work, which we never combined.
Yeah.
Right? For all different reasons, and then by the way, the very second week of Community Online Academy, we launched Leadership in Practice. We saw what happened the first week and didn't like just enough of what we saw and decided we need to teach.
Right.
Because if we didn't teach the first Community Online Academy, we moved into this office, created what we call Premium Co-op, Community Online Academy. Yeah. Premium being the in-person, literally the very following Thursday. There's so many elements. We got arrested on a Friday. We taught LIP on Thursday. Every nuance of, it's crazy, right? It's a example. The first time I went to the Pentagon, right? As a Pentagon counsel with Simon Sinek and all these people, and just did not know anything about the actual military. Within weeks, that whole team from the military came for a leadership academy. There are all these things. The speed absolutely is a difference maker. And if you really kind of analyze what you do, most people cannot do it. You cannot move at speed, and then you cannot adjust with speed. So everything instead is a very, overdeveloped, strong muscle of swirling and hesitation and analysis. I need more data. I want to get one more piece of advice. Everything you move like freaking molasses. You move like molasses. And so this notion of training this other side, it is not a phrase. It is not a meme. It is literally something you rep to condition yourself enough to say, wait a sec, you're trying to get something perfecter or perfect. It doesn't exist. Stop believing it exists, because the more you believe it exists, the more you're pursuing it. And the more you're actually looking only for the perfect match, the perfect business plan, the perfect opportunity, the perfect this, it does not exist. Now, this is something that I've repped enough. So when I see something I like, I move fast. When I see something I don't like, I move equally fast. There's so many, and the notion that most don't. So in the time that they've actually thought through, should we meet and do something? I'm like, I've already done all the stuff I need to do. And I'm already moving in momentum, and nothing creates more momentum than momentum itself. Now, scattered momentum is useless, and you'll see that too. But concentrated, focused momentum, I mean, you become like a magnet. Like you become a magnet usually for great people, but also kind of like flies that go to
Yes, we know the phrase.
crap, right? Poo, right? So flies to poo, like you'll get that same momentum too. Like, and so you have to get better at, fly traps and, keeping flies down and stuff too. But anyways,
There's
so
some phrases that just only work with the real words.
yeah, it's like I'm trying.
You are.
So tied to that, we had 3 amazing days last week, and I think in total there was at least 300 plus unique individuals coming as speakers and attendees, and then huge part. I mean, maybe even close to 400. A lot of people here. So you can imagine what happens after you have a successful, like 2 days on a Human Advantage Summit, then a huge party celebration, and the response and the amount of, oh my God, like I have an idea and I want this and I want that and I want to help you and I want nonstop. And so I'm going to share some of it's only a fraction of the discussions, but I like one of these. There's a lot of good thoughts from different speakers and whatnot too, but this whole idea that it's hard to comprehend, you are the problem. I hate to tell you, every single one of you who has an issue, it's harder until you build enough skills, you will not see that you are the problem. And until you see that you are the problem, like you will keep looking for solutions outside of you first. Or if you look at yourself and then you're going to keep looking for solutions outside always. It's always somebody else. It's always some other thing. It's always some other idea. No, everything is you. But here's the flip side. You are also the opportunity. Like you are both the solution and the problem. And often why we end up creating modules 1, 2, 3, and why all the unlearning and all the stuff is that we are raised, especially in these days, by parents and everybody else and teachers, that you are special, you're a gift and all this stuff. How about the truth that you are the problem? You're the reason why you're not succeeding. You're the reason why you're stuck. You're the reason why you spend all this energy every single day burning through useless mental chatter. Like you are the very reason you feel the way you do. And yet you have all the tools and skills more than any time in history to go make stuff happen. So it goes both ways. And, I love some of the stuff. Like one of the guys we reconnected with, Keith Abelo, he's like deep in psychology and he's had his own challenges, but he's done some of the, I think, best work going into the depths of this, meeting with the who's who of people. And he talks about even how, if I say you are the problem, most of us don't want to go there.
Yeah.
And the more you don't want to go into something and the more it bumps you and triggers you, it almost is giving permission to a terrorist to grow. And you will see a manifestation of exactly the thing you despise. And it's like one of those, I've been trying to avoid this. And why does it keep showing up? It's because of you, right?
Yeah.
The fact that you can't look at something means you won't even pick up on the details and nuances, how you are attracting it all around. But because you refuse to analyze it, it keeps showing up. So this theme I've heard from not only him, but many others, the whole, like the way patterns repeat. If you don't look at things in detail, of course they're going to repeat. Like you end up kind of like the whole flies on shit's not really a swear word.
Fine,
right?
just do it.
Flies on shit, right? You're the fly going on your own shit.
Yeah.
And you don't see the pattern because I'm going to what's familiar.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So then
that's why we always say it's in your automatic, right?
It's in your automatic. You're like, well, this feels more familiar. Yeah. We go to the same shit that we hate because we never looked at it in enough detail. So our intuition and our radar goes to it. But then, so here's what happens. Then there's the opposite, right? We seesaw to the flip side. And he used this example of like, like some client like who was like in this like, father who like was abusive and whatnot. And then you just go into all these abusive relationships. Mm-hmm. So then there's a seesaw flip side. Like, I don't like that abusive, controlling father, so I only date men who are weak. That's not good either. And this is where, if you don't learn to deal with your own crap, that's what happens. You pick between two bad choices that you have all the power to navigate smarter, but like you end up just seesawing back and forth. And it's just a matter of like flip-flopping. And it's just an awful waste of time. So the tough stuff is the good stuff, right? The more you dodge and weave around those painful pages of your life, they will come back painfully. I love that.
Yeah.
Right? The more you try to dodge and weave around the painful pages of your life, they will come back to you painful.
I remember there's
worse and worse.
Yeah, there's a lot of religious stuff we saw obviously during the trial and trying to build up faith and all that. There's a ton of memes and just different things, spiritual guidance going through. I remember one of them that hit me hard was that if it's almost like God, and it's similar to the David and Goliath poem that we read, but it's sort of like if you don't work on something and resolve it, God's just going to keep putting it in front of you because he wants you to fix it, right? And so you kind of feel like, wait, why does this one thing or this other thing, why does it keep coming up?
Mm-hmm.
But it's going to keep coming up until you until you fix it, right? It's like a repetitive, which is like, I guess the same thing that you're saying, but.
Yeah, and he had shared this Robert Frost quote I liked. He said, something we were holding made us weak until we found out it was ourselves. And so I share all this because, by the way, I know it's very difficult and we all spend a lot of time trying to get over our own demons and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I hate to tell you, if you succeed, you will be at zero, right? That's what kind of sucks. That is such hard work and oh my God and everything. And so you will just get to the starting line of doing something great in your life. That sounds like, why even bother then, right? You will go from being underwater, suffocating yourself to you'll just be head above water, but now you're treading in the middle of the ocean, right? So what are we going to do? We're going to build a boat, build a plane, are you going to build superpowers and fly like Superman? I don't know, but you get to zero. And this is the part where now trying to play and win and build something great is 100 times harder than that. I know that sounds like maybe depressing.
I was just thinking when Keith was like, I don't get invited to dinner parties very often because he's so depressing. But you have the other side, right?
I get invited a lot.
No, I know you do. No, you do.
I know what that means.
I do. No, meaning because I think actually don't know what he does or not after that. But it's like you'll talk about the opportunity and kind of the why not you. You have that other side. But this side is the part that has this is really depressing.
But see, I don't find it depressing. See, I find it very empowering.
Yeah.
But there's a nuance of needing to put on I just closed the PowerPoint mistake, but there's a nuance of needing to put on what I call I think we said the hard hat versus the soft hat. We wake up most mornings with a soft hat on, meaning I kind of want the day to go well, right? And I like even in Greg's workshop, he went through and got everyone to talk about how they start their day. And most of us start their day, which by the way, we have a fresh day. I don't care if you even got 3 hours sleep. It's still twice as much as what the Navy SEALs found you need to actually operate at peak levels. 1.5 was enough. That's crazy, right? But whatever you feel, you're waking up with your soft hat on. You go read your little memes and, pep talk yourself, maybe give yourself a nice foamed up latte with a giant heart on it to be even softer, right? And I'm like, when do you plan to switch gears and put on your hard hat and go battle? Yeah. Go fight. Go fight to make your life worth more. And I don't mean just money, but I know one of the things even when Keith was going through his stuff, some therapists always have therapists. This guy basically told him, I like this. He said, do you ever have a sense you're full of crap? It's your time, your money, your life. You're wasting all three. That notion of you have to fight. You have to fight every day. And it's not to say hey, when you go on vacation, do the exact opposite. But generally speaking, how do we condition and train ourselves to be able to go to war, go to battle, to go after what matters and do it every day and you add it up, good things happen. Wake up every day, put on with your soft hat, which maybe we sleep with, right? And then you figure out somewhere in the day, maybe by 3 p.m., 4 p.m., oh my God, I'm wearing the wrong hat. And you change, the day's over, now you feel exhausted, you're gonna try again the next day, and you don't catch your own patterns that you don't choose to put the hard hat on early. And huge part of what Greg taught, the visceral drafting and whatnot, is putting on the hard hat, but then attacking the right thing. We put on the hard hat and then we go attack something I'm going to use the word stupid, but irrelevant, stupid, whatever you want to call it. You're oh my God, I'm going to put my hard hat on and go running, right? You already have enough, but you're going to go run. Or I'm going to put my hard hat on and I don't know, I'm going to start the morning by making some crazy breakfast, right? Like Maria learned, like boiled eggs, good enough. But you know what? I'm going to try to omelet with a different ingredient and try to see like,
take all your best energy
like
to do something.
We waste, like, weren't you saying this? One insight you had, someone made a comment to us that, we don't actually have more energy. We're just more efficient.
No, I saw that on, I saw somebody talking about that, a medical person. I can't remember where. There's so much research out there, but he basically was saying, maybe it was Stephen Bartlett's CEO podcast, possibly. I can't remember, but it's basically saying, you know, when people say, gosh, how do you have so much energy? You need more energy in the day. You actually can't get more energy. It's that you use it more efficiently. I thought that was really interesting. I don't know enough of the science behind it, but it's actually saying some people have engineered their life and mind, body, and all of that to use their energy more efficiently. I actually don't know, but yeah, efficiently would be, I think, why you're bringing that up. At the example, why would you use your best energy to go make a really fancy breakfast, right? Because like now you just used energy on that could have gone into, there's actually another, well, you know, everybody knows it's like I'm into the whole exercise, health, all of that. I think we all are, but I have a kind of an obsession because of the perimenopause stuff and how everything changes. So there's a woman I'm following, and she does talk about every fitness person talks about workout first thing in the morning. It's your best energy. Do it then. It's the best. Get it done. And then you won't do it. And her point is absolutely not. That is your best mental energy to get done what you need to get done. Spend your time on that. And then she uses her workout as an oscillation. So anyways, I think it's interesting. So maybe take it for what it is. But I loved hearing that because that's what we do. But yeah, and
put very simply, the very simple advice we tend to give children: make good choices. Right? As adults, I see this almost 99.99% of the time. Most adults make bad choices right from the beginning of the day, and they're not aware of it, and they're so conditioned and repeating all kinds of internet isms and crap that they keep making bad choices that don't actually consider that the very best thing you can do is spend your energy differently and smarter consistently beginning of the day. And we don't do it. We, in fact, squander it, waste it, and do all this other crap that you don't need to actually spend energy doing. And then you wonder why I'm always depleted. And then I'm going to go and reponder the meaning of life and everything else and why I'm stuck and no one's responding. And nothing good happens to me. Let me be more victim-y. All that good stuff that we love to do because it just feels great. Complaining to ourselves, to other people, find others who will then complain with you. Give you a chance, and then let me then do my part. We can start the day better. So the image compounding, right, which is around consistency, but I can't emphasize enough the word plus. Intensity is interesting to me because sometimes it happens accidentally. Sometimes it happens deliberately, but I want you to think of intensity as like, if I could animate the star where it just shrinks at a super fast speed, it is gone. When Meghan says it was a week changing thing, it is gone so fast that if you don't take advantage of it to then generate traction into compounding, consider it like a waste of time, waste of money, waste of your life. Most things that you feel were life changing, you can keep telling the story that that's what changed your life. It only changed your life if you then pair it with compounding. So we'll talk more on that. Do you want to share this slide?
Oh, okay. I'm just writing what you just said. Sorry, but I like to only change your life. Would you say it only change your life if you paired it with consistency?
Yeah, it's like I think of if you like gambling, like there's a notion of parlay or bet.
Yeah.
Like if you don't know how to parlay an intense thing into compounding, it is literally a waste of time, money, life.
So I made this slide because I thought this was maybe just a step back for a second, like welcome to leadership and practice, like very, very, very high level. I think the two old models on the left versus the new model, I think this is interesting just to kind of discuss for a second, because I still struggle, I think, going from the second model, which is leader as support role, to the new model, which is leader as an example. It's such a hard shift, but I think we all know old model, leader on a pedestal, right? You're building followers. I think that's obviously the most historical, like that's how kind of, the country was built, and big organizations and everybody just follow, right? And so we all learned how to be followers, do tasks, do the things that
I
the
think
boss wants to do. That's
number
obvious.
one. Everyone says, "Yep, that's old."
Makes sense.
Right. Number one.
Right. The second one, I think not necessarily feel that way. Like, so this is the idea of a leader as a support person. So rather than I'm at the top and I just want to build followers to do what I say, then it flipped aggressively to I will be the support role, right? I'll help you do what you want to do better, right? Like I will support you. And so it's sort of like we were talking about the Reggio and all the different techniques in education. I remember my kids when they were younger went to a school that there was like that. This is a good 10 years ago, but it was that movement where you'd walk in and there's leaves on the ground. The kids want to study the leaves. Let's have the curriculum today be what they want to learn. They want to know more about the leaves. Let's teach them that. So that's such a huge shift from sit down. You're going to open your textbooks. This is what we're going to learn today. It's a complete extreme. Now I'm talking about preschool and that example of the leaves, but that actually happened, right? And I think there's a place for some of that, but it got so extreme. I can tend to do that where I feel I want to, say even in business one, I will help Greg or I'll help. That support role is old. I'm having a hard time shifting from that where I'll help people. It's like you want to be the contributor or the support or help someone is old, right? And
I'll say old in the sense of very simply, if you can't help yourself,
that's a good point, Charlie. If you can't help
you
yourself,
are a walking danger to go and give
advice
what you have memorized and recited off of TED Talks and YouTube and memes and whatnot, and then act like somewhat of an expert of helping others, and you can't even help yourself.
Yeah.
And this is like
that's a good way to say it.
The number two was the equivalent of like TiVo, right? Before we got direct TV or all this live streaming was this thing where you can record, right? And get fast forward commercials. And it became so big, right? I don't know if TiVo even exists anymore, but like this model is still being harped. And to me, the danger is old. It's not going to work. Yet everyone, and once again, when I say not going to work, are there places where there's an exception? Of course they exist. But this is an old model that was just the in-between stage before going to 3. And
I think there's a lot of people like that, and what you just said, like teaching things that used to work for you or have worked for you in the past is dangerous, right? You get very lectury.
The perfect example of parenting. We have so much advice how to parent, and parents are spewing this like crap to children all the time. They're not listening to you. But you know what? They're watching you. And they're watching you not only on the intensity, but more importantly on the compounding everyday times when you think no one's watching. And even if you think they're not watching, when you live with someone, you see them all the time, they can sense it. They can see it. And when they see you do those things the right way, you don't have to teach.
Yeah.
Like literally you're leading by example. As a result, that question we got, I think when I was in Boston, one of the high schoolers, about leadership and all the stuff, everyone spews leadership number 1 or number 2. It's old. Like I had to tell you, it's old. It doesn't work. The new leadership is first and foremost, you live and lead by example.
It's so weird, you guys, because I obviously haven't spent as much time with my kids in the last few years with this trial than I did on a 2-week vacation. And like the last day, we're on our way to the airport. I'm not even kidding. Brendan, he's now 14, Matthew's 16. Brendan said something to me like, "Mom, you can be very judgmental." I went, "What?" You know what I mean? Like, I know I can be judgmental, but it kind of caught me off guard. And he had like examples of things he observed. So we're meeting a lot of people, and I might say something about that conversation. But then Matthew went, "I totally disagree, Brendan. Megan says mom is like, she met this person, everybody we've met here, and the people she's connecting with. I mean, it's because of mom, and saying all these nice things." But I was like, oh my God, like Brendan was, very critical, right? And Matthew did the complete opposite. But I mean, they're both watching everything I'm saying and doing. I mean,
it would have been great if I was there. Because if I was there, I'd be like, right, I'm pulling out a sheet of paper. Brendan, let's make the list of examples here. Matthew, and then let's debate these out. Right.
It was like this one woman said something that I perceived as so insecure when she said it. So I was trying to explain to my kid, I think, why she did that, because it's a little uncomfortable. And kind of the dynamic in this room we're in. I'm like, I think I know why she did that. I wasn't trying to be, I was like, I'm trying to explain why I think she just did that is that she was feeling insecure. She was trying to get in this conversation we're having. And the way she tried to get into it, I almost felt bad for her, which is why I tried to give her a layup. And then she went super insecure. And I was like, oh, so then I was trying to explain that dynamic, which Brendan perceived as me kind of being rude, talking about her, what happened. And I'm like, no, I was trying to explain. But then I looked at him, I'm like, no, there's work I could do there, right? Like, because you've said that to me before. Sometimes I could take something small and then talk about it. I don't need to do that with everything.
So I mean, 2 data points. We spent a lot of time with both Josh Waitzkin, wrote a lot of great books about learning, but then also Brene Brown, who's done a lot of stuff in her world. And they both said the exact same thing, which is basically, if you keep repeating, right? Like kind of we're dying to give advice and repeat stuff, you literally become number and dumber. Right? Yeah. Number and dumber, right? Yeah. And if you don't, I'm sure you know enough people like that, but if you're in the trenches and you're fighting the battles and you're actually in there doing stuff, like that, you know it in your bones. Yeah. Like that's the leadership in practice. And, you know, even Brene Brown would say, only take advice from a set of people you can fit on one of those tiny little Post-it notes. The notion of I'm looking for those in the trenches who know it in their bones, not I'm going to recite something that's out there, because now with AI and everything, I can beat you at that, right? I can fight your AI generated recital with someone else recital. And that literally process of knife fighting on those little things make you number and dumber. And yet a lot of us are in constant conversations that literally make us number and dumber without realizing. So the whole point being, number 3 is what matters most. And coming back to this point I started with, you are not only the problem, you are the solution. A single human is more empowered than ever before. The technology and everything, you can do stuff for virtually no money, all empowered by yourself, and even off free services. And so the whole question comes down to literally, we're now playing the sport of you, right? Or the sport of me more than ever before. And it is way harder than anyone actually thinks. Yeah. So some slides we didn't use last week, but I just wanted to kind of put mod 4, 5, 6, because this is the second half of leadership training. And I just wanted to point out, it's amazing sometimes knowing what wrong is helps you start to recognize, kind of like I said, sports teams that are winning, they don't actually train enough what wrong is. So there's no amount of thing you can do at that point. If you're feeling your intuition feels like, no, I think protecting the win is more right, you'll keep doing it. The other side's too dangerous to do. So it takes reps to understand what wrong looks like. So I'll start with the very right. Mod 6, this idea of people are like, wow, I see the 2 of you. I need an elite team of 2. You can't help yourself. Right? You are a mess. You go and pair with somebody else. You will not only make yourself worse, you will make them worse too. It is literally the formula for a dysfunctional team. Like someone who is just a dysfunctional wreck trying to go and find somebody else to go pair with, right? Well, is literally like,
I was just gonna say, I don't think most people would actually say I'm a dysfunctional wreck, which is part of an awareness issue. Like, well, but if you are a wreck, you just said if you're dysfunctional, if you are like a mess, right? I think that's part of where the challenge will come. I think awareness point of view.
I think, and so I know the language is harsh. So a lot of people say, oh my God, that, you know, like that's not self-love talk and all that good stuff. But I'm saying like, just if you can audit yourself, right? And I don't like ruining other people's lives. I think we all hopefully will agree with that statement. And to not see that I am there, if I want to actually better somebody else's life, some of us like have a lot of big things we want to accomplish, like income inequality and all right. You need to get stronger yourself. If you don't get stronger yourself, just realize you cannot do it. You can talk and get number and dumber and make other people number and dumber, but you cannot do it. And so I look at it, and if I said it wrong, I mean, it leads to dysfunctional teams, but it's very hard to accept that I am actually contributing to them. Most of us, when we go in it, go into, well, you know why it's dysfunctional? I can list all the things that's wrong with Meghan. Meghan say, I can list all the things wrong with Charlie. Once you're in that discussion, it's dysfunctional. Right? Like instead of focusing on the mission, it's focusing on what my teammate did. That's good. So if you catch yourself in those litmus tests, right, just know, like, okay, dysfunction, good. And what's the real thing you can change? Of course, yourself. Myself, right? Learned helplessness happens, right? You're like, well, I thought you were doing it. Or like the whole, like, you know, hijacked by others. Someone is dominating. It's just everything bad. Starting on this has been one of the biggest mistakes we saw historically. This is like maybe 15 plus years observing our company, people walking out, seeing other examples, a lead team of 2, and they think they have to go find their training partner, their TP. And we found it go repeatedly wrong. Couldn't figure out why is it like it was working, but not working when people went after it. It's because of that. Like most people do not actually know how to operate well solo. As a result, 2 people who do not know how to operate well solo, when they get together as a team, it's like, oh my God, you can't even unpack what's wrong.
Here's the insight. If you are working with other people though, because nobody's working fully in a vacuum, like just never talking to other human beings, tone matters a lot. If you are aware that you're not fully right and you're not in the zone, you wouldn't give some advice with such certainty, right? I mean, there's a bit of a caution, with your advice.
But not only that, but also imagine you taking feedback. You take it with caution, right? I'm listening to a person who has cancer, giving me feedback of how to get better on my cancer, but they seem to be trending bad. I'm trending bad.
Yes.
You take it with a little caution.
That's the use your head.
Versus they'll pound their fist saying, you need to do this. And I'm like, I'm looking at you and I'm not feeling like I should.
Right.
But thank you for the information. There's an element where everyone's lighter in their interaction, discussion, and this whole notion, I want to blame somebody else, like it just means you're in mod 6 in the wrong order.
What does endless loop of renters?
So I was going to go to that mod 5. Thank you for curing. Thank you for the clue. Move on, right? Mod 5. So mod 5 was built with this notion that we need to get feedback. We need to generate transparency. And the reason we need this is no matter how much you make your perfecter plan, you will never be able to get every assumption correct. And the variables are moving so fast. It doesn't matter if you're building a product, if you're building a service, if you're even taking advice, anything. I don't care what it is. Before you have a child, you're like, I have a perfect plan on how to raise them perfectly and all this stuff. You start doing it and everything's wrong. Like life doesn't give you, right, on a silver platter to like, oh, you thought about it, manifested it. I'm just going to give you exactly what you wanted. No, life seems to give you more lemons and limes and then rotten crap and everything else going wrong at the worst possible time. And so whenever you have an idea what to do, the minute you try to do it, right, is when you see everything wrong. I had the assumptions wrong. My logic was wrong. And then like maybe the team was wrong. Everything is wrong. And so what ends up happening for most people is, I figured out feedback is the key.
Yeah.
Right. If I count on others to correct where I'm wrong, right? That's great. And by the way, the old model of leadership, right? And you see most leaders do this, inspection. You inspect what you expect. So before you know it, you build a compounding, right, culture of everyone waiting for the one leader or whatnot to inspect everything and think their job is simply just to throw up everything and then you fix it. And
that's why transparency done with the wrong intention, which is I'm sharing it only because I'm either trying not to get in trouble or I have to give an update or I have to share something, plus a combination of the leader saying, yes, I want to lead kind of that old model. I want to inspect and I want to tell you what to do.
That whole notion of launch quickly, break things fast and all that stuff. Everyone's like, oh, I love those things. So here I go. And I'm like, nobody said create more crap. The world has so much noise and so much crap. Like, did you put thought into it? And if you really probe in, you'll find out, well, no, I thought I was going to get feedback and then it'll get better. Yeah. I'm like, you just added more crap into the world that doesn't need more crap. The notion of endless loop of renters, the senior people generate this renter mindset. Parents do it with children, leaders do it with all their, different followers, subordinates, whatever you want to call them. This notion of when you start here, it starts in a really bad place.
Yeah.
And people do this and get there very quick thinking it's all about getting feedback. This is why I need to get feedback. And I'm like, you're wasting so many people's time pumping that stuff out. And you wonder why nobody responds to anything you write because you're full of crap and you're sending it out there and trying to get other people to listen, see, and then try to comment their mind share on your crap. And that just leads to, once again, wrong order, endless loop of renters. The only way you get the right order built is the idea of mod 4 solo, leadership, strategic thinking, decision-making, whatever parts you want to think of. You have to be able to make something awesome yourself first. It doesn't mean that, once again, perfecter, there's no endpoint. That person, when you find someone who is doing that well, and they start training with someone else who's doing that well, you can get some real magic happen. The mod 5 of getting feedback from that person, amazing. That's the whole, Josh Waitzkin's in the trenches, know it in your bones. Like there is a dime a dozen. If you want more feedback that's generic crap that's out there, I'd rather talk to AI and not have to deal with your crap. Tal was saying too, it's interesting. People would right now pay a 30% premium to take a Waymo, then go on an Uber with a driver because I don't want human I don't want
Oh,
human
wow.
I'll pay 30% more to not have to talk to the human, right? Why? Because they're full of crap most of the time.
Because the drivers are so good.
I don't want to engage in it.
Yeah.
Have you somehow try to either dump your life shit on me or me make one comment and then you start to give me feedback on it.
Yes.
Like to avoid that,
Yeah.
they would pay a 30% premium. This is like actually the data.
Or you could just set up the Uber to be silent. You can actually put that setting in.
But-
I used to love talking to them. Now I have, oh my God.
Yeah,
please, I don't
but
have to
even
mind
but even the judgment, the look, the whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, really, this is the actual data. They're paying 30% premium on a rideshare ride to not have a human being in there, right? Like, I mean, think about customer service, right? Hey, we have a live audience you can talk to, or I can do like,
Yeah.
tell me like what we prefer. And some of you are like, well, I prefer to talk to that. I'm like, maybe you're not working on the right stuff because then you wouldn't have so much time. But solo matters, right? Because, and here's the nuance that's shown up in almost every different organization. If you're a leader of a team, if you're like a captain of a group, right, whatever you want to call it, the top, and trying to build one more, I'm telling you, one more person who can actually solo leadership, as in put in agency, apply strategic thinking, and make decisions, make good choices, and iterate and do all the stuff, right?
Yeah.
One more, life-changing. This idea that you could literally fix the world just through one more. The biggest and best example I found over time was Shiv Khemka. He's one of the top 10 billionaires from India, and he's right now educating 10 million kids starting at 12, and they adopt them when they turn to 18. He's got a massive funnel.
Yeah.
I think he's probably adopted 500 by now, like full adoption. I'm crazy. But just to try to make a team of 5, he believes if you can get 5 Gandhis in a room that you train and develop starting early, every problem in the world will be fixed. And I don't think he's even at 1. And so this is where the notion of it just takes 1, and then it just takes 1 more. And even large organizations, I'm telling you, the difference is massive just with that 1. And so I think, how do we set it up so we make more of those 1 show up, right?
It's
Yeah.
crazy. Just one. Yeah.
Yeah, wrong order makes you worse. Cannot tell you more. In most things, the wrong sequence, the wrong order just makes you worse. We saw this in nutrition. We see this in, kind of how you start the day. Like, I'm just sharing this slide that there was a guy, Bridgewater, was the other company that the Harvard professors found was the fastest learning organization. This guy was there. I'm not going to read all the stuff, but I'll tell you key parts I'll emphasize. So he created like a coaching company, but starting with the very upper left, you can't see the highlights. It says, how do I find A players who make shit happen? That is what we want more of in our lives.
Mm-hmm.
Not someone who tells me all the reasons why it doesn't work. I want you to go make it work. I don't care how you find a way, right? Make success happen. But we're full of people who give us excuses, complaints, worries, and I'm going to tell you all the other problems. By the way, this is, I know, counter to like, hey, bring me the problem, create transparency. Yes, I like that. That old adage of don't bring me, problems, bring me solutions. That's a dead and like will kill you org silence adage that if you follow, hey, at your own risk and go pay the price. But this is different. I'm talking about people who make shit happen. Oh my God, are they refreshing? Oh my God, are they just like you can just have a conversation and things will happen. So talks about all the different things that you have to look for, tests and what's up. And this is all like, by the way, real life in the trenches tests of difficulty. But I'm going to focus on the very bottom one most because I have animated stuff.
Yeah, you. I can see it on mine, but
oh.
I think you just can't see it on here, Charlie.
Sorry.
You can see it on your own screen. See it,
Please.
the yellow highlight.
So I'll just read some of the highlights. You want someone who survived feeling alone before. Once again, I know that people can't survive through that, so you bother other people, right? Like there's a part of being able to like be alone and alone in our thoughts, alone in our struggle, and then actually overcome, then add other people. Oh my God. Do it the other way around. Like I need a pacifier of somebody else to fight my loneliness, fight my struggle, this and that. It's like, can we at least admit you're kind of weak? Like you're not going to do well when you're alone on this point. Everyone wants to play safe and you want to go aggressive. Like you're not going to do well.
Yeah.
Right. You're hiring for the version of them that shows up when it's not, as in the relentless test when it gets difficult. Right. It says well, everyone looks capable when things are easy. right? I want people who actually know how to get things done when it's hard, right? The version of them that shows up, not the version who's like, fine, I'll do the hard thing, but I'm going to be so freaking difficult. I'm going to do all kinds of things to create damage before you do it. Like that's what you don't want, obviously. High agency people don't ask if it's possible. They get creative to figure out how. But I want to focus on this very bottom point here. They go deep in something that nobody is pushing them to do. And they wrote, no, they only go deep when it's required. The notion of most people don't commit until they have to. Most people don't go deep and do something unless they have no choice but to do it. Meaning the notion of being obsessed, the notion of learning to commit. This is the class I know we didn't quite teach though. Everyone's like, I want to know when to give up, right? I'm like, you don't have anything interesting to give up on. So how about learning to generate the skills first? This is the order of how to actually generate enough choices that I have stuff to give up on. And it's a hard choice because everything is fighting for my attention because it's so good, not in concept, but in actual practice.
You're saying it's a high class problem, sort of a luxury to get to a place where you have that many awesome things that are happening where you have to figure out which ones to give up on.
I'm not saying it's a high class problem. I'm saying it's a skill.
Okay.
It's a skill. It's a compounded skill.
Okay.
And the other side is equally a compounded skill. Constantly looking for the easy thing to get committed on, the easy thing to be obsessed on versus no, I'm building it. Remember the rush on the whole happiness and how we all have a prediction of what will make us happy. And the research shows how wrong we are and what we think that is. The actual thing that makes us happy, we rarely get it right. But so learning the skills to be able to pick anything, obsess, commit, and then find relentless ways to creatively attack and figure out, as opposed to, I only do that when I really am passionate, interested, this and that, and you're building an opposite skill. So I'm going to show you rough notes, actually maybe after this page, that I shared in our staff, but we shared the slide before, right? Peak performance, you can actually run 6 to 7 projects at once, but recognize every outer circle is secondary. There's only one primary. There's a primary on projects, there's a primary even on people. And what wrong looks like is not picking primary. This whole notion of, I'm pulling at slides from before, physical setup, weekly routine, yes, but not picking primary, not actually having the one to obsess on, the one you're committed to is more dangerous than picking the wrong primary.
Before you get in the explanation for that, I think this was interesting. This is what led to the next page, no?
Yeah.
I changed all the orders. I have no idea now. Did on purpose to keep me on my toes. But this is a really interesting conversation we had Monday, Tuesday, somewhere. Because I know, Greg, you had brought that up, I think, in a lip while I was away, which is not picking is worse than picking wrong. But that question of why is not picking worse than picking wrong? I had my thesis of what I thought that was. I thought if you pick something, even if it's wrong, you'll eventually figure out how to make it right. Like you'll iterate and get it right. You'll adjust and you'll figure out how to do that by at least picking something. And that's not actually
not it
at all. So
not it. Meaning
what do you guys think? I mean, I feel like before you do, because I just think this is
like the idea that if you pick, then you're going the wrong way, you'll know faster, but then figure out the right way.
That's what I thought. I thought you'll pick and you'll eventually adjust, right? Because you'll get truth, you'll get feedback, you'll eventually figure out your path. So picking is better because of that. You'll eventually figure it out versus you do nothing.
So I don't know in the chat or even here, like kind of what Megan's asking you, like, what's your thought of why, even if it's intellectual, why this?
I mean, you don't have to answer this.
Maybe you're still in the camp of, I'm still waiting for mine. Perfect.
The silver ball
right?
stuff.
Yes.
Not picking primary is more dangerous than picking wrong. So Sherry saying, I learned the hard way that any decision is better than no decision. And then you can either make it right or you learn data that you wouldn't have with no decision.
And remember that's a phrase that a lot of people say. And we've heard it enough times, right? Learn to make
the decision.
Any decision, right? And I have that's a great cute phrase, but nobody knows how to do it.
Yeah, nobody knows how to do it.
Right? In practice, right? Because then I'll be like, all right, how about I'll test you? I'll make the choice for you. Let's see what you do. And you'll be like, well, I didn't pick it. I'm like, well, then pick. And they're like, well, I'm still thinking. So it's like.
So Richard's saying you need to pick something to get in the game. And then Kwang is saying no primary can cause mental chatter.
Absolutely. That is
Not
absolutely
picking
true.
is not moving.
You know, the idea that, I don't know if you've heard gossip, is like the devil's workshop, the
Yeah,
same
it's
idea of
actually a
mental
sin. I
chatter.
didn't know that.
Like
So
this
you-
notion of when you don't have primary, you will find a way to put all that brain power, all your energy into useless crap, and you will be the one who's generating the problems. When you are actually focused on a primary and you have a mission you're on, that will get most of your mind shift. So then all the problems still exist, but it's amazing how they'll just get your secondary brain,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
I will give
So,
the response.
all right. So here was the piece that we just I'm just going to read this. This is like in my notes and we just share with our staff, and you may have highlights, but I'll just read the parts.
Good. Yeah.
So I said, not picking is worse than picking wrong. And the reason is picking, you train all the right muscles, but the not picking, you also compound all the wrong muscles. You compound complaining, you compound being a victim, you compound mental chatter, going back in the past and thinking about all the lessons I want to relearn in my life, to even going forward, making all the predictions and questioning your life, your choices, your missed opportunities, the regret. You get, instead of getting fully engaged in the present, like you're spending all this energy on all the stuff you missed and did wrong and all the stuff of not having direction. And then the worst part is you get used to living this way. You get used to operating with no direction. And you actually, the idea that you can get comfortable being numb and dumb and think that's the norm. Just like you can get used to complaining and you can get used to complaining and not doing anything about it. You get conditioned faster than you realize. About worrying without figuring, is there something to do, right? You know, the amount of people who worry about stuff when there's nothing to do. They've analyzed it 6 ways of Sunday over and over. I'm like, there's nothing to do. Can you move on until you get to a place where there's something to do? And instead they're just rather, I'm just going to sit here, go to bed at night and just hand wring more because that's what feels more comfortable, more normal, right? So we just worry. And then I'm like, oh my God, you're making up so much stuff. Now I don't even know what's real, what's not, what's you, what's somebody else. What fictitious characters you made up that's like actually going and doing that prevents transparency. Most go quiet, right? You know what? You start to hit, I feel ashamed that I'm doing stuff wrong. Now I can't talk. And so I think, Richard, you shared when you came, silence is the top enemy. Yeah, we go quiet and we go inward, but it is not quite silence in our heads, is it? It is a freaking mob scene, right? Of people. It's like being at one of those auctions, right? Everyone's trying, you're going to buy it, you're going to buy it. Who wants to buy it? This is right, this is right. And like, you're like, and you want to say, shut up, but you can't shut your own mind. It's got its own demon control. I wrote on the green part, nothing to do. Sharing it allows someone to challenge it. So there are times, it's what I was saying, if you build the right muscles, right?
Yeah.
There are times you're working on it and you're still trying. And then you also get more alert when new data points show up. I found that those who are committed to primary and who are working at it, they're just alert and they're able to see the nuances of changes and opportunity and adjust versus those who are not muscle at picking and committed on a primary. They have the opposite. That's the same to me. Today's the same as yesterday. Everything's the same. Not going to work. And I'm like, oh, there's a lot of new data points. What data points? And then you explain it. They're like, okay, well, I guess that's true. I'll give you that. But I'm still going to go and mope around and do nothing, right? Because it all kind of seems the same. Or I'll take a shot that looks exactly like before the data point existed. It's like they don't see that, once again, they are the problem, right?
I think the part that's really hard to hear, right, is that but the not picking, you compound all the wrong muscles. So it's not like you didn't pick and so now you're staying neutral. You didn't pick, and every day that you're not doing that, you're compounding an unhealthy version of you, just adding to it. So you're getting weaker and weaker, more complaining, more victim-y, all the bad stuff, right?
And then you'll see the ones who are not actually find a way to run away from you, right?
Right.
And then the ones you will attract, like flies and shit, right?
Ones who are also
Flies love company, right? They all love shit. Just so then it comes you're doing too hard on yourself, right? Tell me about your worry. Let's talk about it. Let's map it out. Let's do it together. Let's like maybe combine our shit and generate more shit. Right? Like, and then you're you feel good. It was a great day. We talked about all the shit.
From the word poo to shit real fast, but no, it's good. It's good. We tried.
I think we agree. That's not a swear word.
I think it's less a SH word. It's a little bit less bad. So, okay.
Is there a British word for shit that's like crap? Okay.
Crap. Okay. That's
So-
crap sounds.
Yeah.
No, but it's true. That's actually how Yeah, the flies on shit,
Yeah.
right? The flies
So-
are crap. Yes.
So this we covered, and I can't emphasize enough that the new work is literally investing in physical setup, weekly routine into everything. So I'm not going to go over this. We cover this, but I want to stop on this slide. This is the part that I think is the most important. On the very right, and this is where I start. The idea of starting your day, so besides weekends, maybe besides vacation, every single day, primary, trying to figure out what you want to do. And this is not like I got to write like a online version of a strategy plan. No, just viscerally, what do you want to do? Right? Like, as in, get that done. What do you want to do? What do you wish? I always say, if everyone behaved, right, as in exactly the way you want, what do you want to do? And the ability to just draft that, it's a 5-10 minute exercise. Do it repeatedly. And then you're like, well, the same stuff came out as yesterday. I'm like, that's because you're that bad. Keep doing it, right?
Yeah.
And what happens is you're going to see that it's easier to make a list of what I don't want. Okay, fine. But do not forget, until you figure out what you want, nothing's going to work. And then you'll see yourself stuck, which is now all the little 1 millimeter pea-sized thing that's preventing you from using your full brain. And this is the whole topic in last week's 2-day Human Advantage Summit, authenticity, how it unlocks energy. It's what literally brings you back in. And every day we wake up with some little pea-sized thing, wrecking our ability to actually run and, create, feel almost childlike. I just want to do this, right? Versus I can't because, my hip hurts now and this hurts and that hurts. And now I got to think of making the eggs with this. And I don't know, like just we make up stuff and can't tell what's real, what's not. But and the part I would add that I had drawn in my handwritten version that hopefully will help is this thing on the right is 100 times harder. Than number one or even number two, 100 times. So when you think you're going to do all that therapy or all that stuff to deal with your issues, you are at zero, right? And if you do nothing, you will go back to negative 100 or negative whatever. Until you make traction on the right side, which is 100 times harder, nothing will actually sum up or matter. And that's what you'll see consistently. And you know what happens to those who are in the arena going after the primary, that 100 times harder? Everything on the left feels less. So guess what? All the stupid arguments you're getting to people, it'll just still happen, but just end faster because you actually don't care. You care more about that thing on the right. All the stuff. You will also attract people who are like that, who want to get shit done. And so working on the right will attract more who work on the right. Versus you don't do that, you will think the very left side, just to be authentic, talk out my problem is the biggest hurdle in the world, and you will attract others who also think that's the biggest Goliath in the world. And that's not how we're wired to live. We are wired to go make something meaningful, impactful, build. But instead, we think we're wired to just get to zero. And it's in relative comparison, like anything. We condition ourselves when we do the thing that is harder. Wait, everything else is easier. If we don't do the right side, everything else feels like a Goliath. Even just articulating what I don't want is so hard and so Goliath. When you do, people go and congratulate you. That was so brave that you were able to articulate what you don't want. And I'm like, okay, I don't think you've ever experienced the right side then, because this is 100 times harder. And once you do that, you'll be like, hey, that was brave. Great. Okay, what do you want to do? The speed, the light issue will move to the right, vastly different. So this is some of the stuff we did last week. Amazing speakers, resilient things happening. You saw it. It's online too. But I want to share some of the notes and discussions after. There's some really good ones. One was with a group, and just to give you maybe a data point, setup, physical, but weekly routine. I mean, these are the two most important things: physical setup, weekly routine. And why physical? The problem with online and digital, it's unlimited. So you know what unlimited does? You don't have to ever pick. You don't have to ever say no. Unlimited canvas, unlimited folder space, unlimited photos, right? Imagine the times when you had to take only a few photos, right? When you had the Polaroid, I mean, there's not many shots you can take. So versus I can take as many as I want, and nor do I have to delete it. And in fact, I can get AI to analyze it. I mean, it makes us not have discernment. It makes us lazy. Physical is the same thing. Physical setup has all kinds of limitations. That very limitation is what forces you to have to make better calls. Physical setup, weekly routine. And weekly routine, if you have to commit to do something every week, wait, this is a recurring meeting? I have to come every single week versus, oh, come once? Sure. You'll see the choices have to be that much better. So one of the things that, I mean, as we're like this is like the first week, Meghan and I are fully back into work. Like we're setting up a gazillion things and it's all kinds of conversations happening fast. One is on Thursdays here physically, there's going to be a cohort of startups actually going through discussing the challenges and figuring out how to like get better here. Every Thursday is like workshop and whatnot, all day long, social hour in the evening end. We're going to create a group that's actually tinkering how to use AI just every Thursday here. Like we're doing another thing with young leaders, high school, college, and maybe even young professionals. Same thing, kind of every week going through. We're doing something that we're going to do with artists, like actually coming and painting in here all day and creating things here together, workshop. So now people have I want to join that group. Hell no, you're not joining any of the groups. These people already are leaders who are doing this stuff. We're supporting them, letting them rigorously select a concentrated group and get it going before we look for a application process to then pick the few, and it's going to grow this way. And so we're underwriting, creating that environment. Now, a lot of people say, why are you doing it? What's the business sense? And I was thinking, there's so many lessons we've learned, and so there's not one person, but Tony Shea from Zappos is one that we coached his entire senior team and him. He passed away during COVID and whatnot. I don't know how and why, but there's a fire in his thing, and it's a long story. But he always talked about serendipitous collisions. You know what happens in this world of uncertainty and everything happening? You set it up so the odds of winning are higher. When you get high quality entrepreneurs, high quality people working in AI, high quality young leaders, and you get high quality even artists, and then you have other stuff going on, the odds of having some random unlock bumping into a conversation, something, it just exponentially increases. So then what's that going to create? I have no idea, but that's a good setup. And so that's a piece that's moving quite rapidly. We're also adding this thing, for our co-Thursdays, like it happened through a random conversation with triggered memories from the past. We're creating dinner teams. Kathy called it, I think, cute name Feast. Sometimes I find the cute names are cute, but meaningless because then you don't quite understand. So I'd like to start sometimes, like I know you have lip sync, but that's going to get really confused with lip sync battles. And so, which is why I have just leadership think tank. It's like simple, but my point being, making the name less cute, but more illustrative what you're trying to do, more important in the beginning. Otherwise, we obsess on the cute label, and now it has to be about feasting, right? Or it has to be about like whatever lip sync is. But I say this, so we're going to add a thing where it happened I'll give you the context after, but basically in our community, one Thursday a month, probably teams of 4 to 6 are going to make dinner. So that means they're going to go and figure out what to make. They're going to go grocery shop, which will cover the full cost of groceries, but they will cook it and they will serve it and then they will clean.
Well, we'll order all the groceries. And we're not,
I'm saying, but I mean, we'll cover the cost and order and all that good stuff. And this notion of kind of rotate, and would it be a competition? It always is. And it's something that we have done for over 20 years on a leadership offsite. It came from one of our investors
So the reason for this island actually is because we used to run an offsite in the vineyard. One of our investors, Chris Birchwood, gave us this idea, but one of our investors allowed us to use the space, huge kitchen, huge, right? And so we would create dinner teams, 21 of us. So we'd create dinner teams. Actually, we'd create dinner teams. Not
every single night.
But every night there's a team of 4 people. I think the last night maybe it was 5, or I can't remember. Greg, you were always in the last team, Kevin, but I think it was 4.
So 5 meals.
5,
right?
yeah.
Every dinner.
But 4 people would actually cook. So not only would they would actually go get the groceries, come up with a menu, go get the groceries, cook the meal, and they could do appetizers, meal, dessert, whatever they want, drinks, whatever.
So we would do breakfast at dinner.
Also serve it. And then, besides the last night, we would always do buffet. The last night they would actually serve it and then clean up. And it was a great bonding exercise because it can get a little stressful, right? So we actually did it. We would pair people, generally speaking, who didn't work that closely. So we'd have somebody in the London office paired up with somebody in our New York office or Boston. So we set it up where they have to go grocery shopping together, right? So now they have to go the car, they have to go. Then they have to figure out what to make and agree on that. I remember once being like, I don't know if you guys eat this in London, but nobody here likes that. I remember once it was all deviled eggs.
Yeah.
One of the meals was deviled eggs and like pigs wrapped in a blanket. And I was like,
that was the whole dinner.
I remember thinking, this is disgusting. But it's like, it tells you a lot about people. I'm like, that's what you came up with to serve us? Like, we were working all day, we're going to eat that. Now you got that issue, right? But that was only one really bad. We only had a few bad meals.
And you have like
so
crazy.
we used to not cook together a lot for years because we worked closely together. And finally, I was like, wait a second, this is getting very competitive. And let's compete now. So then we started working closer. And then Charlie and I, but then we made some really bad things. So
we had one bright idea that just was horrible.
If you want, I can tell you about it at lunch. It was really funny. Or do you want to hear about it?
The stuffed mozzarella ball with pasta that was.
I'm like, I'm dying to make this, but I'll never have a chance to make this at home. So Charlie, let's do it.
It was horrible.
Awful.
Not only was it
it's so unhealthy
horrible in the making,
and there was the following year that we said, let's go much healthier. This is before the health craze. I really feel like it's before.
But
anyways,
so it's a piece we're going to add in, which I think is going to help strengthen the community building and the bonding and all that good stuff. So, and like you will have your turn. So anyways, that's a piece we're introducing today. So but a lot of stuff, including the other pieces. But I'm going to read a couple things real fast and we go to questions. So this is kind of what led to the startup thing. I'm not going to read all of it, but I blanked out the names. But noticed after years of working with early stage founders, they're mostly building apps around small personal annoyances. And AI has only accelerated that by making it trivially easy to build something. What's still missing is the deep problem understanding to know what's actually worth building, learning to sit with uncertainty and complexity. I realized that the basic format of an accelerator, where the whole purpose is to accelerate people, works against exactly that. Something that does the opposite, that gets our founders to slow down and do the work to understand the problem they're interested in without the pressure to immediately come up with a solution. So this is like we're getting requests off the wazoo, but they want basically Next Jump to be kind of a spiritual home for the program. And that's fancy word for, can we come here physically and get you to pay for everything and the meals and whatnot, and have the space that you built to kind of like basically incubate this here every single week. So that test might start next week. This was one on education. This individual doing amazing things. The red and green, I don't think a red is bad. I just want you to think the reason why it's red is the greatest imbalance is that we are addicts to intensity. It's like junkies. And we run away from consistency, and it should be 20x more consistency if you made a pie, or 19 times doses of consistency for one dose of intensity. But I like what he said. The tension between intensity and consistency, as in the intensity creates moments that inspire, but the consistency is building the routines that sustain them. Said another way, intensity is AI has dramatically lowered the barrier to producing work for some of the team, but it hasn't lowered the barrier to developing wisdom, judgment, or deeper understanding. The consistency, create environments where students learn to wrestle with complex problems, the intensity before rushing to solutions. The red again, intensity, balance between bold incentives, and the weekly coordinators is kind of all about a weekly routine. The red, breakthrough moments matter. I can't emphasize, it does matter. Breakthrough moments, that feeling you have, the story you tell does matter. But at 5%, 95%, the culture is ultimately built through consistent habits. The intensity, annual celebration captures imagination. We had a whole discussion. We're going to create this whole thing around Avengers, and you'll see industry by industry. We're going to create the craziest, bringing moms flown in and getting $50,000 vacation package awards. Those of you who know us from the past, people would literally cancel everything annually to come to our Avengers ceremony. But instead of internally Next Jump, we're going to go community. And so different industries. But that celebration captures imagination, but the weekly practice is what changes behavior. So the intersection of education, entrepreneurship, leadership development, that whole setup is what we're accelerating every week in here, designing environments that cultivate the patience to understand the problems deeply before jumping to solutions. AI continues to accelerate everything else. And so to recognize kind of that notion of where the power is of but where the imbalance lies, that we have to then invest greater in physical setup, invest greater in weekly routine. This is another back and forth, took the name out, but this is kind of neat. When you see someone change and we tend to congratulate them, and I wrote like, they want the change more than you, right? Imagine taking anything, what you love, and throw away the intense data point. You know how if you do data analysis, throw the outlier out, throw that out, and then see what you have left, and that's more the truth. So I had there's a much longer note, put it through AI Coach, and this is what it said. Intensity is not the signal. Consistency is. So problem person example, right? Genuine change looks different. It's someone who's seeking feedback, someone who's initiating hard conversations, someone who is self-correcting without being prompted. Watch for that distinction specifically. Charlie's warning about the serpent underneath isn't cynicism, it's pattern recognition. People who have operated through obstruction don't rewire in 2 weeks. The automatic behaviors are still there, they're just suppressed. Your job isn't to be suspicious, but to stay clear-eyed and not let one good day lower your guard or change your operating posture prematurely. The very bottom, your consistency will reinforce it. If it isn't, you'll see the cracks early. The notion of the plumbing, the consistency matters most. I think that was it. Sorry, did we jump all over the place? But we are happy to go to any slide.
Small slide for now. Yeah, there's a few different things we talked about, and there's some stuff in the chat if you guys want to, on the phone or on the Zoom, if you guys wanted to just unmute, go ahead and ask, because we did jump around but it's good stuff, I think, from the compounding notion to changes in leadership, obviously, how it goes wrong with the team first if you're not working on self. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. So does anybody have question, comments, reactions? I don't know, Rich, Greg, or like they like cooking idea.
Like the cooking idea, because we did do it here, but
and
I will tell you,
if you're so unmute and just Brian. No, you gotta go.
Well, I'll join in. So, yeah, it was about the make shit happen. Well, it's about what was it? It was about the.
Do you want me to go to a slide or sorry, or no, it doesn't matter. You don't have to stop.
No, I was more curious. So my question was, and I'm gonna have to go back to where it was, is do you sometimes need to go through the shit to make better decisions? Oh, yeah, it was about decision making. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you make these bad decisions and you spiral into this negative stuff. Is it a rep itself? You find yourself at a -100, and isn't that where you actually get your momentum to getting back to the zero, to the fixing all these bad decisions and getting to the good decision?
Yeah. So first, the idea that if you get to -100, just you have to realize that was you. And you have to compound enough bad things to get there. So oftentimes people don't correct till it breaks, it gets that bad, which, by the way, sometimes is very normal, right? Just don't overbeat yourself up. It sucks. It's painful, but you have to be able to look at it. And that's the part, the Keith Abloh part. We don't look at the mess that we have done in an honest audit. And so that sometimes is very hard for people to do. Put down the ugly truth down on paper. I can see it. I could even show it to someone and wrap it. Versus it feels like it's going to be a 6 to maybe 5 year process of trying to unpack all this so I can finally see it. And then I can finally get to living life. Like, meaning, how do we do that faster? Right? Doesn't mean it's going to happen in 1 day or 5 minutes. But so there's all that. And I always think, yes, it is about decision making. But great decision making usually requires two main things: great data points, right? Great facts, great information, and great logic, as in framework, schemas, whatever it might be. Most people walk around with horrible data points, broken assumptions of all sorts. And so when you combine that stuff, you can't even see like how to even fix it, which is why the first part feels so painful, but it's being able to see your own crap, right? Like that question that Keith Abloh's therapist said, do you ever have a sense you're full of crap? Your time, your money, your life, you're wasting all three. And yeah, it's what most of us do. And by the way, there's no 100% efficiency. We all do it. I do it, right? I mean, I got into this stupid game, Gossip Harbor, and the joke of my whole family is I've got this other family I'm committed to because of this game, and I can't I can't abandon that family, even though I picked the wrong game by accident.
No, I can't
No.
abandon them. I can't.
And I
You
invested
don't
so
want
much.
to. Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
We get so vested in our mistakes and crap.
Yeah, I was going to say, maybe we've said this before, but because my head, there's a lot of learnings in here. The notion of everything will come down to self-awareness, because ultimately, if you can see your own crap, look at your own crap, you'll get less triggered by other people. I think Kathy said this when she spoke up on the panel last week. Well said, which is she used to take every piece of feedback like a bullet. And Matthew always says that Brendan, my son, takes feedback like a bullet. And he's actually getting much more improved by that, but much more improved in that area. But I do the same thing. There's certain things Charlie will say to me, and I take it as if it's like a dagger in my heart. And last night, we were talking, and he was like, it's more like I'm in the middle of the game, and all I'm saying is, hey, your shoes are untied, tie them. And I'm like, it'd almost be like me saying, how dare you tell me my shoes are untied? They're not untied. It's like, I'll find some other way to be like, they're not untied. Your shoes are untied. Like, it's like,
Or you think I was parented wrong? Are you saying I grew up wrong, that I didn't like, I can't wear shoes with laces. I got to wear.
maybe I don't want to wear shoes with laces. Maybe, you're just not looking. Maybe they're trendy and cool and you just don't even know the new thing. I mean, it can go into like something so creative, which is awful, right? It's like, but that it can get to that place. But it's obviously the root of that would be if I'm looking for them, or even if he does point them out when I'm in that flywheel and I'm on a mission that's so important, it won't bother me as much. That's, I think, the cost of not picking the primary. If you're not obsessing over something that's important that you're going after, you'll take things more like a bullet, and then you'll waste your time defending it and, just being defensive and looking for ways to say that's not me, it's you. I mean, it's like, it really goes off the rails, really, like seconds. And now it's going to take a whole day. And even if I don't say it and I'm thinking it, now I'm not thinking about the mission. I'm just thinking, God,
that's like I said, and usually what most people do is, okay, so we're in the World Cup now, your shoes are untied, and instead of just tying it, you're now staring at it and maybe saying, you know what, I can play this way, right?
Yes.
Who are you to tell me my shoes are untied? I'm just going to play this, leave it this way. And now you're looking down at your shoes, thinking about it. You look at other people's shoes. I'm like, are you trying to win the game? And so then it's like, what's your plan? What do you want to do? And it's like, you're still thinking about the shoes and the comment. And did you mean that is it my mom that you're insulting, or my dad, or is it my twin, or like, what is it? I'm like, so then it goes into, what the F are you talking about? Right? The game is going on and you still are talking about the shoes. And then it's like, wait, I think you might come to every game with your shoes untied. What the? And so before you know it, goes off the rails. And you have this massive fight. And then the person who said shoes untied is trying to win the game. And you're still now taking it layers into deeper. And before you know it, like, it's an exploration of why are my shoes untied?
Yeah.
Right? And they come untied all the time. Does it matter? Like, it's like, what are you doing? Right? Wasting time, money, life.
Yeah.
All three.
Yeah.
There was just one other one, which was, I found, okay, one question about the solo. The great leader, the great, all the great things that you have to mod for, right?
Yeah. Think great human. Just think great human.
Okay, so great human. We all have our flaws. Great humans. Is it showed from an external shell? Do you say, okay, now I've achieved great humanness, I'm ready to, partner up, and it shows because of everything I've done, or somebody validates, or sometimes you're not a great human?
So I'll give you the litmus test. Usually when you are doing great things solo, you'll attract other great people doing stuff. Right. But if you attract a lot of crap, right, you will always attract crap. The flies just love to fucking go everywhere. Freaking go everywhere. Flies have to go everywhere. Like, so you have to watch the quality of what you're attracting. And it's usually very connected because people are watching not only the intents, but much more on the compounding. That's where the real test comes in too, even from people and whatnot. The part I know from my self side of litmus tests is, I know we talked about this with or without you energy. When I know I am doing the right things, I have with or without you energy. You join or not, it doesn't really matter to me. I'm moving, right? I'm doing the stuff. When I have it the wrong way, I have desperate, I have whiny, complainy, like I have like problem energy. Right? It's like, instead of without me energy to move and do stuff on mission, it's like I'm looking and hunting for issue energy.
Yeah.
Right? Is there anything here today that we can gossip about or make a mountain out of a molehill? And let's start with that energy, as opposed to, okay, first thing, I want to get all this stuff done. Then it's like, wait, what are the issues? What do we have to do? Like, and you can kind of nip those in the bud, get rid of those or deal with it, or maybe leave it alone. It's amazing how much crap you can have lying around and still be okay. But I'm starting with a different energy, and there's someone, you see people on a mission, right? Like, I want to be that. And how do you know? Because when you are, you will see yourself have very different energy. You will see yourself when you go to bed, when you wake up in the morning, just even observing yourself in the morning, you can feel the difference in energy. Someone who's on a mission or someone who's looking, hoping for a good day, then, oh my God, all these things I hate, all these people, all the things, whatever, you can see the difference. You can feel the difference. And if you haven't, you're just not very aware. So it's what we call oblivious. But there is a lot of people who are in the oblivious category, and we do an amazing job to obscure the truth from ourselves. Then there's a second category. Remember, we talked years ago, categorized people with Simon Sinek on these things. One, the worst is, oblivious. The second is you're aware, but you don't do anything, right? Don't change. And then the third is you're aware and you adjust. So all these phrases are cute, right? Like, just freaking do it, right? Just do it. Like, none of the stuff you can put on the wall. You're like, all right, so I don't want to be oblivious, right? People who say I don't want to be oblivious, usually the most oblivious. I don't want to be aware and not adjust. Usually they're the ones who are doing it the most. The people who are actually doing the right thing aren't even thinking of the stuff. They're just doing it.
And so that's how you get your TP, your training partner. It's actually
I think about it as
that momentum.
Can I tell you, when someone who actually gets a TP, they don't want a TP.
Yeah.
They're so like I don't want people who kind of bring their idioticness and bring their issues and whatnot and slow down and just create just debate after and judge. And I'm like, I can get that so easy off of even just email and whatnot. I don't want it. And so those are the ones that you want to TP with, because they're like, wow, they have real with or without you energy on a mission. And then you'll find it takes time to actually then build the right routines together on that, the right setup. Like, all of that is very difficult. Like, you'll see this in venture capital. Anybody who wants an investment, they don't want to talk to. The more you avoid them, the more they want to talk to you. I mean, I cannot tell you for 18 years you haven't raised money. It's just the spam quality just keeps going up. I mean, nonstop. Like, they have now analyzed videos we've spoken.
Yes.
I mean, it
feels very personal.
Full of heartstrings and stuff. And I think I even know them.
Yeah.
And it's just every day. And I want to write back, please take me off your list. But even me responding is going to now encourage them to write more. So I'm hoping they think it's a dead email address, but
All right. Sherry has a question. She says, when we're ready. Go ahead, Sherry.
Hi. Hi, guys. So good to see you. The question that I'm thinking about is, how do you distinguish between, so Charlie, you're saying, I am the problem. And I know, right? I am the problem. I'm also the solution. But how do I face the ways in which I'm getting in my own way? And one of the things that I personally struggle with is I'll always, in any situation, the first thing I'll go to is what did I do wrong, or how could I have done that differently? But in a very self-critical, very almost self-flagellating way, it's not constructive.
Yes.
And so I guess the question I'm thinking about is, how do you, and my friends will tell me but do you not notice the bullshit here? And why are you not calling out this bullshit? And so how do you balance the yes, I take agency and ownership for everything that's on me, but call out the bullshit that's not on me?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It totally makes sense. It is an excellent question. And I'll tell you, so here's the first part that's most important and counterintuitive. I'm going to go back to this slide. And this is very counterintuitive, and that's why no one does this. First and foremost, if you still don't start on the right, what I want to do, primary, pick. At some point, if you give yourself 5 minutes brainstorm, trust that your brain has already computed every data point in your life, everything you have seen and learned the lessons from. And your algorithm is going to pick, that is good enough. Whatever that primary is, done. Just visceral. It's like the idea of close your eyes, you're in an elevator, and then you're if you just found out you want the $10 billion lottery, now you can do whatever you want. Oh, what is it? So maybe if the money part is too much of a constraint and people come up with stupid stuff based on that, I've had all the money and no. So fine, take the money out. Then now you find out that the flip side, just picking up different examples, you just find out that you only have 6 months to live, right? You're going to die. no matter what, terminal illness. Okay, so now I don't care about anything, right? Like I have enough food and stuff to live 6 months. What do I want to do? Like come up with different frames, but whatever it is, figure that out first and foremost and start the day doing that first. And the reason is this. Start with what you're saying, which is let me start by trying to remove my blockage, my issue. I can't even get to the right because of my issues on the left. It happens to a lot of people. You will spend all your mental energy coming up with creative ways to attack taking the blockage down. And I'll give you a sense of what to do. But you will see without having a direction, you're going to be literally aimless. You're going to be useless. And by the time you make just to zero, like zero is just above water, the next morning you'll drown again. Like it's a nonstop repeating effort, which is why you have to fight that notion of wanting to start with getting my problem solved first. And I cannot tell you when you wake up in the morning, I don't care how many hours sleep you got way more energy than you realize, mentally, physically, emotionally, and do not do the crap of I can't until I eat something, until I get my workout, until I do my meditation, until I sing, and do my, sage and prayer, whatever it is, you got way enough. Answer that freaking question. Figure that out, invest in it, come up with an approach. At some point, maybe hours later, try to figure out the stuff that's stopping you. You'll see if you do number 3, number 1 and 2 come out almost naturally. Then come back to the second part, which is the question you're really asking. I was saying with Megan, I called it auto-criticize. You know how we have auto-correct? When you type, it corrects so that's not what I wanted to write, but it auto-corrects. We have a lot of, and I saw Megan, a lot of people do this, auto-criticize.
It's like a really bad habit.
As the words come out, I'm auto-criticizing myself as I'm saying it. I'm like, can you see that's a bad habit? Stop that. I can't even listen to what you're saying because you're auto-criticizing as you speak. So you're muddling up everything. It's just a bad habit. But see, if you fix that, won't make any difference in doing the 100x harder thing of answering, what do you want to do? So
I was going to say, sorry, because just back to the first point, because I think it is a really good point. And I've got stuck in this myself, which is it's easy to think about, I know I'm the problem. I also know I'm the solution. Where do I begin, right? That feeling of, I know there's things I know and there's things I don't know. And you can kind of go on this self journey because it is truly about you, right? We're saying you're the problem and you're the solution. But when you start there, it's endless. I mean, I've gotten stuck in that where I think that almost that crippling feeling of I have so many things I need to work on or that I want to work on, that I have to work on. But depending on what you pick as your primary and whatever you're working on, it'll be relative to that. So I can't think of a great example. I was just thinking, say you're going to go you're going to learn to do gymnastics. Okay, if you're going to go learn to do gymnastics, whatever you need to work on is going to be related to that sport, not another sport. It's just going to be different. So saying I need to work on everything, you can't. You have to work on what's relative to the gymnastics sport.
That's the perfecter idea.
Yeah, the perfecter.
You can operate quite well, but a lot of shit wrong.
Yeah, yes.
Right?
That's a good way.
So then the question is, if I don't know what I want to do, I'm going to go on a quest of trying to fix everything to be perfect before I even do anything.
Yeah.
And the act of trying to do
it, like even last week, you guys saw me at the end of the summit, I was sharing a lot of things I'm working on. And then after, it was one of the things that that's really important. And I started to kind of spiral a little bit in the middle of it, thinking there's almost so much, but we have a thing coming up in a few weeks. Well, the thing that's holding me back there that my psychology I got to work on is that thing in preparation for a thing we have to do in a few weeks, not then I start bringing up other things. It's almost like it makes me think about this thing I got to work through and that I got to process. No, I don't. I don't have time to do all of that in sequence of the mission I'm on. If I have extra time, you know what I mean? And I have in different places where I could work on that, but relative to the mission I'm on, that might not be the thing in sequence. But I think once you start to feel things are wrong, you want to work on all of it, but it's overwhelming. And now you're going to just go into a focused on my self-development, and it's endless, right? You could be we're all on an endless journey of self-development. So that's the part that's dangerous. You can go on almost like, wait a minute, what am I trying to work on? It's not just working on yourself. You have to work on the mission. Whatever you need for the mission is what you're going to work on first. Then you see something else. You might have to say, that one right now isn't as relevant, but you have to sequence because the mission is first. So anyways, I think that's why you keep saying, Charlie, if you don't figure out what your primary is and you're not working on that aggressively, you're going to get lost in a spiral of self-development for the sake of self-development.
So which is why the first part is you start here, right here, right? And so I can't emphasize enough. It's counterintuitive. This is where you have to start. Otherwise, everything starts in the wrong place.
I mean, the framework
And the-
we used to have was meet, vent, work, like
Yeah,
20 years ago.
yeah.
Our TP program was called meet, vent,
Please
work.
don't follow it because
Meet and vent, and then work. People inventing, you're never going to get to the work.
Yes.
You have to start with the work.
Yes.
Relative to the work, what are you venting it? What do you need to work through? That's the live stream.
Yeah. The key size problem you have
Yeah.
to go figure out has to do with what you're trying to do. Otherwise, people just come. I mean, we're masters of generating issues.
Yes.
I can't tell you. It's almost like I'm like, wow, we should all make movies because we could
Yeah.
be with Stephen King and everyone's just a master of making horror movies about our own lives. And I'm like, wow, like just, okay, you do that, you'll see that the most important horror movie you're going to go figure out and go solve it. So start with, what do I want to do? Then you might see little things like the automatic defaults. I auto criticize, just like auto correct. But then the last piece I was going to say, the third part was look out for these litmus tests. The whole I am the problem. If you actually did an honest audit, right, in a day of how much you actually believe you are the problem or you're looking on the outside for the problem. If you see that, by the way, everything's a problem, but when you start to see the majority that I sum total to like, outside, learn to associate that as the signal of cancer and danger, right? If you think the majority of the issue is outside versus I am the problem, that's when I know I'm actually compounding cancer, right? Death is coming from me and I am making it happen, just like cancer. Like usually we are doing it to ourselves. So that's the final litmus test. Sorry, three-part answer to your very simple question, which
You made me think about when you were saying that, Charlie. The look for the small issues, like not the small issues, but the issues that compound, like auto criticism, the repetitive things. Ideally, if you're solving those if you see the thing that keeps coming up, they're naturally, if you see it, that's why you always need the help of other people. Times you're not seeing it, you keep doing the same thing.
You need the help of other people, but you have to make it easy for them to tell you. True. And this is why most people, you need the help, but telling you the truth. And I think we share this in the rap thing. It takes sometimes a confrontational person to help you see your truth. Like most of us make it so hard that someone has to really decide I'm going to go out on a limb. Or there are people who are just like assholes who just make it a living to go and try to tell everyone their truth. And I'm like, God, you're so broken yourself, right? Mm-hmm. Can you please stop? Right? Like, so.
What are you saying, Greg?
I was just thinking, it's such a, you hear me okay?
Yeah.
It's such a good topic and it's so complicated because I think there's a piece of which gets back to the point I think you're making on the habits and the rituals, but to me, I found it's the challenge sometimes with like the hard mode and even like building up the kind of the courage for it is you can write yourself off, or I found I write myself off. I might not feel like I have the skill set, or oftentimes it's not necessarily like me myself.
Yes.
But then there's a part in there where it's like, so then I don't sign up for as much hard stuff. I go towards the more easy, the things that are more on my to-do list, in which case, and it doesn't expose some of it. And so I've struggled a little bit in terms of, I've come around, I think, really to your thinking of like the narrative versus the habit. But I do think that, obviously I don't want to overdo the visceral draft, but I just think it's an example of like injecting in like habits that change the way I work. I have found that it ultimately does change my narrative, and it gives me confidence that, I can do something I might not have the skill set for. Or I can put out things that I want earlier in that process. And so it is a hard process of choosing that kind of hard one and choosing that. And I do think it takes kind of courage, but I think your point on the rituals and really looking at it, I think I resisted for a long time. I didn't apply it necessarily to the work. And I think there's a mix of my own rituals, but also the work rituals that I think have given, I've seen results from it.
Yeah. So I have.
You're saying a lot of interesting things, because the first thought, can I just share real quick, is that it's true. If you're not going after, I'm sure we talked about this years ago, I'm trying to remember the framework around it, but if you're not going after hard things, you actually won't see your development areas. So then you think you're walking around thinking, I'm pretty great, right? I'm pretty great, but it's actually, you're not on a mission. Right. So you don't.
That'd be like saying the hardest thing for me today was just coming and sitting in here.
Yeah.
Right? I'm like,
Yeah, and it's a lot of, we go into our to-do list because there's a lot of things to do.
Yeah.
yeah.
But it doesn't expose, like the easier the project and the things that
Yeah.
are not hard for you, it's not going to expose the areas you need to work on.
So I have three thoughts, Greg. One is
Yeah.
write yourself off.
Yeah.
I think about, what happens is we don't have the muscle to be obsessed enough about something that I'm using every oscillation, every overnight, every which way to keep attacking the problem until I crack it. That is this whole not giving up, as opposed to how do I know when to give up? No, not giving up, using every creative way to then go and attack it till you crack this thing. That skill is what we're underdeveloped, which is what the education side, the startup side, the deep thinking, deep thought, just relentless, not the same thing, but different approaches, different ways. So that's one. The other part is this, the whole primary. A lot of people then go pick very safe and crappy primary. The biggest litmus test is go brag about it to someone and see their reaction. If they have a reaction of like either jealousy, I want to come join that with you, or like, just God, I want to have a primary like that. That's that wow reaction says you picked the right one. When it's like, my primary is to go and make the best dinner and win the dinner thing, and that's what I'm thinking most. And then they're like, great for you. You can tell by their energy. That sounds like you picked something really easy, that's low cal, that's no good. So it's amazing the reaction of others, and especially not strangers or people who know you, is a good litmus test. Kids are a great litmus test. If they just kind of be like, all right, whatever, mom or dad, like then you're like, that's not good. It's amazing. It just literally will get a wow reaction. Good litmus test. And then the last piece I said, and I think Santi and Richie said this when we came to Boston, when you get stuck, which is what usually happens, when you pick something worthy, you will get stuck.
Yeah.
First recognize that's how it works. Otherwise, everyone will be doing everything worthy and the world will be great, right? The two levers that people do not think about is the setup and the routine. More specifically, the physical setup and the weekly routine. I am going to engineer those two levers consistently to increase the odds of breakthrough on my primer. And usually if it's harder to do, that means I'm probably doing something that's good for me, right? Mm-hmm. Good for my thinking and mind. Then if it's too easy to do, I'm like, I'm probably going to get worse and worse or do the same getting stuck. It's much harder than people realize. And it's down to nuanced things that you're going to test. And once again, not once. And that's the thing, physical setup, I change it. Like imagine the kitchen, if I said to put silverware in a different drawer, it will, if you do it, make the wrong thing, forever, like kind of feel like hurting. Make the right change. I'm like, oh my God, why did we do this sooner?
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So you'll see those kind of nuances. Maybe one last question. Throw out a cat, since you came from the other side of the pond. And I know you British are so polite and like to say nothing of substance until you go behind someone's back. But if you want to practice with us,
Be more candid, huh?
I don't know. I mean, you tell me.
Depends.
Yeah. Okay.
But interestingly, so I have a startup building an app, and yesterday I hired an external team. And yesterday I was trying to do, I launched it, I need to relaunch it, and I was trying to do it, and it was taking too long. And I was like, I need a technical co-founder. I should have found a technical co-founder before. Why didn't I listen? I went through Founders Institute, but really I don't. I just need to do the work. And right now I could get another version launched myself, and maybe down the line, yes. But yesterday I procrastinated because I was like, I made a mistake. This is why it's not working, putting the problems outside of myself. And so this was really timely and helpful, and thank you.
I don't know if you sat in the workshop last week with Greg, but they literally were not technical co-founders. And yes, we have mentored startups up the wazoo. In fact, we got so good at hiring the second worst college degree now, like the second worst, like the absolute worst that gets the lowest jobs right now is computer science. That's crazy, no? So think back, like they were the most sought after. Every single founder institute, every group, everyone's looking for a technical person to join their team. Like to find a way to woo that technical geek was like the job of everything. I have investors who literally will value, these are like billionaires, value your company by how many technical people you have on the team multiplied by a number. And that's what your company's for. They are the second worst performing college degree. can't get jobs. They're getting fired left and right. And then they're fired, they are spiraling, can't figure it out. So it's to say that thing just disappeared completely. It collapsed.
What's the first?
The worst?
Yeah.
Shit, what was it? I can't remember. I actually tweeted it. I forgot what the first was, but does it matter if they all suck?
Probably what I.
Yeah, I have like it doesn't matter.
No.
Like it's kind of like it doesn't even matter. But I love that, like that hurdle, that impediment of needing a technical co-founder just completely disappeared.
I
Like
just feel like there's no more excuses, right? It's like, that feeling of like, wait a minute, because back when you started the company, I mean, you needed a lot of money, you need engineers, you need this, you need that. It's crazy what you can do now. You don't
and
need
so
anything.
what Greg will tell you, if I had a punchline of what they learned, you just have to be able to articulate what you want to do.
Mm.
Most people can't. And they think, well, I could do that. If I had all the money in the world to do this, I'm like, no, I'm not talking with constraints and all the wish. No, just what do you want to do? And it's amazing how it's harder than you think. It's so much harder. And then when you do it and it doesn't work and you realize, okay, that was a really dumb idea or I missed all these variables. Instead of now redrafting what you want to do, most people do maybe I should have, maybe I wasn't wired to be an entrepreneur. Maybe I needed the technical, maybe I didn't, you just come with all the energy goes into kind of why you should not be the difference maker, why you should not move forward. And that's a muscle, right? It gets really strong. What do you think?
No, that's good. No.
No.
No, I was trying to sum up the whole thing with a lot of good stuff. No, I
Take a
well,
shot.
I
Take a
think
shot.
the thought I was just thinking in my head, and this maybe just sound, it can just sound very like pithy,
Does
and
it
I'm not
sit
trying
an
to
auto
make-
person?
Oh, God, the auto person. I feel like the notion of like having a purpose and knowing what that is every day, waking up. Like I always hear people say, "Oh, you wake up and you're like, you jump out of bed, you're dying to get to work, you're like dying to work on that thing." You feel like obsession, purpose. What's another good word for that? Mission oriented, on a mission. Without that, everything goes wrong. I know that sounds so simplistic, but I could totally see how
Can't
Without that
tell you
focus,
how viscerally
you
I am
start the
against
wrong
that
thing.
thought.
really what? What do you mean?
Like
Meaning what do you want to do?
I so viscerally against that thought. I think about like say someone who has a really hard living and they're in the job of construction,
Okay.
right? I can't imagine every day having to wake up
Yeah.
and put on the construction clothing, knowing that I'm going to break my back to earn a low salary. And that's what I have to do to go make my family have meals and rent and
But don't you think they think
Right?
about that's their purpose every day? Is that I got to get up and I've got to make sure I put.
So the people who during COVID, all the nurses who had to
Yeah,
put on their
yeah.
outfits and go to the hospital knowing I could die,
But
right?
isn't
And
it
bring
purpose
that
to
back
help
home.
take it?
And
Yeah.
I have do you think they had wow, I'm so excited for this purpose to go risk my life in a disease that's killing everyone. And I don't know. And I have to even, wash my clothes, shower outside because my family won't even let me in my house. And that notion of wow, but they're so driven by purpose to go save lives. And I'm like, yeah, that's a hindsight. If they're alive, they say it.
Yeah.
I don't believe it. I've met a lot in that window. They don't think that. I think of it as the construction clothing, that nursing outfit is the same as a hard hat. You're waking up with a
so
soft
just
hat.
waking up hard.
You have to get so routine and so regularized that I am okay putting on my hard hat first thing in the morning or early in the
So
morning.
just getting yourself conditioned to do that. Yeah. Okay.
Don't ask
Right.
questions. Do that. Otherwise, know
Yeah.
that that's wasting life.
Okay.
Right? Wasting
Interesting.
time, money, life if you don't know how to do that. And you can't do it repeatedly.
Mm.
Instead, it's like,
Yeah.
oh, I don't want to do that. God, I should find a different profession.
I see what you're saying.
Complain,
You're saying that's the
worry,
intent.
whine.
Yeah, stuff.
And then let me dream about those who have purpose, who are jumping out of bed, excited, all excited to go, put on their hard hat. And I'm like, that's the very thing that makes us actually lose our way more and more.
Okay. Good.
Like
All right.
full of crap,
Okay.
wasting, like I said,
Well.
time, money, life.
Mhm.
So how do you get to a place where it becomes
So I think
almost
he's saying it's not. I think Charlie's saying it's not their why. It's not because their why.
No, I know. For me, I noticed, Charlie, my visceral to what you're saying is I put on the hard hat every day because I'm going after something. It's like I'm lifting weights because I don't want to lose muscle. I'm not eating carbs because I want to lose 20 pounds. Like I'm putting
Yes.
on the hard hat for something.
yes.
I'm not putting on the hard hat just because it's hard. Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
Well, so here's the most common error people make. You're choosing that for weights, which is exercise. You're choosing it for nutrition, which is carbs. But we don't sacrifice that to actually do it for the mind stuff. There's stuff that's way more important than your nutrition and your physical exercise. And I'm not saying zero it out. I'm just saying we'll do good enough. But in the mind stuff, we'll postpone it, delay it. And you'll say, okay, first I got to deal with the no carbs and the weights. And then once I do enough of that, I'll get to a place where I might start my day trying to draft what I want to do. I'm going to postpone that. And the more you do, you will see this endless pursuit of exercise and nutrition, finding new friends, finding new community, all the stuff, versus it was always within you to start the day. What do you want to do? It is hard. Put on that construction hat, put it on, put on the uniform, and just plod through it as you might be gagging, hating it. You see a weight, you're like, I'd rather lift that weight than do this. You see like whatever the super healthy breakfast you want, rather do that than do that. No, that is your broken muscle speaking, drawing you away from what you should do and pushing you towards keep doing the wrong thing. Like we prioritize incorrectly. The bigger imbalance is on the mind more than the body. The bigger imbalance is literally figuring out your primary thing and drafting until it's so normalized. You can stop now fighting that every single day. You just do it. Otherwise, there's so much freaking mental chatter, debating in your head, debating with other people. And I'm like, oh my God, do you know how much time you wasted? Do you know how much energy you wasted? Do you know how much money you wasted? Do you know how much life you wasted having that debate when you just had to go do it? You just need to do it enough until you stop wasting all that time on the debate. Like, it's a choice right now. So you don't want to make that choice. What? Give up my weights? Like, give up my no carb breakfast to go do that?
I guess I'm not thinking about it as either or. I'm thinking about it as like, if I have, like the 6 canvases, the missions, the things that I'm going after, definitely one of the things I'm going after is getting my like physical self in shape. It's not the first and only thing, but it is a thing.
So that you can go do then what? And then
exactly.
But then go audit your last 10 days and tell me how it looks, especially how you start. And I bet you're not going after your primary. You're going after a secondary that's supposed to help you get the primary.
Oh, so you're saying you're talking about just order of operations, like just start with the mental stuff, then go to the other stuff?
Like that's what you,
like in the day, order of the day.
Yeah.
We are fully in the information age. We're not in the industrial age, labor backbreaking. The power is the mind. The body is there to actually help our mind do better.
And then the overnight, your brain is thinking, your subconscious, it's doing all the good things that it's supposed to do. And yet we take the energy when we wake up and start thinking about what's the healthy breakfast I should make? When am I going to work out today? Am I going to get sunlight? Like I do that where I'm like, okay, I got to make sure.
Last 5 business days.
And it seems so small, but it actually does take your best like insightful mind and subconscious thinking and put it into stuff that is secondary, right? But once you have those thoughts and you're like, I feel on fire, then let's go have breakfast. Let's go make this. Let's go work out. Let's go. Now you get it. You already got that great output from your brain first. Mm-hmm. So I think what Charlie is saying is it's a sequence thing. Most people won't make that trade-off, that sacrifice.
Imagine kind of even how religious.
You actually might not have the breakthrough. And that's what's really tricky is now you're like, okay, it didn't happen in the morning.
I think I was more saying there was an example like Meghan and Charlie of an example of like, I do that for something, as in like, forget that it's a physical thing. Like I will do the strategic thinking or the visceral drafting for a why. Like I'm doing the hard work, even mentally for the hard work. Like I need something that fuels me to do it as opposed to, does that make sense? It's like, I need something that's propelling me to do the strategic thinking for the mission, for the thing. Like I'm not just trying to like torture myself with strategic thinking. It's like, no, what do I want to accomplish? Right? Like that's the thing that's going to fuel me.
So can I call out the crap in it?
Yes, totally. Call out the crap.
Something that fuels me to do it. No, you don't. You just have to do it.
Well, that's what I was saying, Sherry. I was thinking like, because it's one of those things I've always been jealous of. Founders get up in the morning, they can't wait to get out of bed because they're so passionate, they're going to go solve that thing. And I'm like, I don't feel that like a lot of days,
Or
right?
not even
Days I
passionate.
have that, but I don't feel that every day.
I don't.
But you don't feel it. It's really good to know, Charlie, because sometimes I'm like,
I don't wake up
look,
at
I
the
don't
Christmas
have
morning
that.
every day.
Like I was blue collar, so you say construction workers. My uncle, I mean, works 100 hours a week still. My dad's still blue collar and he's 73 right now. And I was a maid for 9 years. I didn't wake up wanting to go do that. I just did it. But you build pride and okay, I do that work and I'm awesome at it. And you can build pride after you do it. I'm like, I have a really strong work ethic. Great. You know what I mean? And I watched where work was supposed to really suck. You're not supposed to love it. You're not supposed to feel purpose. It's just supposed to put food on the table for your family. That's it.
Yeah.
But I've always been envious of people who have like, oh, I have that purpose. I'm like, I
It
never
feels
had
privileged.
that,
I mean,
you
it's
know?
privileged to be like, I have a dream. I'm going
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
Who are you talking
Agree,
about?
agree.
What? Like Nelson Mandela, who suffered
Yeah.
30 years in
Yeah.
prison, and then maybe I don't know who
Yeah.
are we talking about in
Yeah.
the real that you
Yeah.
know? Like
Yeah. No, it's good. I identify
No.
more with put the
No,
freaking
I
hard
wrote
hat
down,
on
like, look,
and just get there.
how
right?
many days I wake up where it's Christmas morning, right? It's so few.
Yeah.
I wake up most days feeling like Christmas just got canceled. Now I got to be in. Like that's like literally the truth. Can
funny,
you,
yeah.
for example,
Yeah. It's
this
just,
idea of you talked about weights, you talked about no carbs. Could you possibly think that I have to earn that? Imagine like that's so important to me. I want to do it, but I need to make enough progress on my visceral draft on what I need to do, my plan, my strategic thinking to earn going on a workout, to earn eating with the no carbs. Like imagine even saying, I need to earn my bathroom break. Like, what are you talking about? I have to earn my bathroom break. Like that notion of flipping these things that you're like already drawn to certain things. I have to earn it. If I don't make enough progress, enough effort, I don't get to work out today. I don't get to, like, in fact, I only get to eat donuts, because like I'm not doing the right thing mentally. Fine. Then I'll just make sure I definitely don't do the right thing physically either. Like set the
Like either a
price
double
right.
reward or a double loss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But instead it's like, you know what? I'm going to lose on the mind thing again, and I'm going to reward myself on the body side. Right. And then before you know it, I'm like, are you sure that your behaviors, if you audited the last 10 business days, right, align to what you're saying you're trying to do? Because I bet you most of us, it's not. Like you've suddenly made a unconscious flip. My secondary that was supposed to only be the stepping stone to the primary has now become my
A
primary.
primary. That's
Yes.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Right.
interesting. Yeah.
So anyways, we'll
Carmela had a question. She had her hand up for like a half an hour, I think.
Yes, but this was so, I was talking to AI coach about this exact thing and it was telling me, no, the order matters. Do all your thinking stuff first. So Sherry, we can talk about that later. But what's really resonating from last week and so much did was Shauna talking about when she was working with you years ago. She was like, I want to prevent suicide in their
Yeah. Yeah.
And you were like, great, how are you going to do that? And her talking about that around like she was so humble and it really resonated where she was like most people would be like, oh my God, you're so amazing, thank you, and then they wouldn't ask beyond that. And she appreciated how you both were like, okay, so what does that mean? And I really resonate because I can have idealistic goals and then never do anything about them. So I really love the with or without you energy. And there was something Greg had said about like hoping this would be easier, like in the chat. And
yes.
what Kathy had said around it is so hard. And the fact that people would call you mopey Kathy, which is hilarious because that's not what I think of at all. But it's like, from what I understand is, oh, I'm always going to get that like feeling in my stomach. And that's okay. That means that I'm doing what I'm supposed to. The last thing I'll say, not supposed to, the thing that is aligned with my primary, the last thing I'll say is thank you, Charlie, for saying like, oh, those people are still going to bother you. It just won't bother you as much for as long. And I would add that when something is irking me about somebody else, it's usually because I'm still doing the same thing or I haven't forgiven myself for doing that in the past. So this is really built up on last week's summit. And thank you.
Yeah, you know the part I wrote is this. Like I know you just said it. The whole like, I too hope for things to be easier all the time. I am like the biggest fool to that every single day, every day. every new relationship, every single day, I'm hoping, oh my God, I've done enough in my life.
Yeah.
Today should be Christmas morning again, right? And it's not. Now, watch how long it takes you to change habits. From your soft hat that you came in hoping it'd be easy, how long does it take you to put on your hard hat? How much energy does it take you to put on that hard hat? And that should give you a real clue to how weak or strong your muscles are. It's like the data point showed up that today's not Christmas morning. And you're fighting it. And then, oh, I want to put this on. I shouldn't have to. I'm like, just freaking put on the hard hat and get to work. Like, you're not ready to go fight. And it takes you so much that you could spend all day. And then by the time it's evening, you put it on and go like, oh, it's time to take it off now.
It's not quite the example because it didn't happen like this, but the party we just had, it's like not what I want. I wanted it outside. We had a whole plan. Then we had to make a rain plan. I thought that rain plan, like I don't want to do it. So just keep looking at the weather, right? Like talk about not wanting to put the hard hat on. I'm like, no, we already planned it. Like we already have an awesome plan. It's like, this is going to be great. It's going to be on the terrace. There's going to be a DJ out there. You're going to see New York City skyline. There's sunset hour when people come in, when we bring them up. I mean, whole plan. And like just the idea of being like, no, that's not going to happen. It's actually going to rain. And even if it doesn't, like we need to plan that, not want just wanting it to be easier because we already did all the work to plan that. Now we have to adjust.
The thing that helped us to say, okay, plan A is it's freaking raining, right? So we make that plan first.
I mean, that was a monsoon and tornado watch that day. Then it became about the Canada fires. It was New York City had dirty rain. I was like, what are the odds? I mean, the day that they predicted in the forecast, dirty rain. I was like, I've never heard of that before, but yes. And the party been planning for like 3 or 4 years visually, if we win and when we win. And oh my God, this would be about dirty rain.
No, and then when's the last minute we have to adjust from outside to inside? We make the call Saturday. We make the call Saturday.
But it's like I got to a place later the next morning that I was like, if it does get nicer, I'm kind of committed into the rain plan now. Yeah. So once we did that and we decided, let's make it awesome, we're going to have a different plan. I almost felt like, shoot, if it doesn't, and we do it out there, wait.
You fell in love with the rain plan than the original non-rain.
Which is like, then I was like, really? Like, yeah, what I want to happen? No.
That's called a Jew.
Yeah.
Really, it better rain.
It's better rain. So when I was tornado and all that, I wasn't triggered because I'm like, people really good win. I still was annoyed by the dirty rain. I'm like, really? Like,
our filters are good. And like, it could be smoky outside and dirty rain. Who cares? We shifted to now fall in love with this. The plan A now is
I did kind of like different. We actually felt there was a shift in energy because we all kind of went through it together, and we're like, all right, let's try and get through a rain plan, and but slowly as we were going through things, thinking of different parts, like we actually started getting excited about the rain plan. And we're like, oh.
Yeah,
it's an awesome party right now.
Yeah. So either way,
visceral drafting. You're actually getting committed into that plan more.
Yeah.
So you fell less in love with the original thing that you committed all this time to, but it's not working your way. It's not behaving, right?
So Charlie has shared the video like 18 times now since then, but that night is the night I took out this camera. I had like, go ahead. I'm gonna be right on this. Where basically, you don't have to play it right now, but I basically, because they can't hear it. Right. You tried to and definitely couldn't hear it. But I basically said, I hate this idea of the costume thing. I think it's stupid. Everybody's going to look like they're in Halloween. I hate Halloween. It's like a costume party. It's going to look like a clown show. And then we're going to ask people to do a lip sync. Like this is stupid. But
on top of it's inside.
But I said, but if I'm wrong, I'll admit I'm wrong. I'm just saying as of right now, I think this is stupid. But I could be wrong. I might be proven wrong. I did have the humility to say I could totally be wrong, but my was I'm not going to be wrong. It was like 1%
It does not sound like humility. It's like 0.1% humility, and I end up with
I'm here to say on camera I was totally wrong, absolutely wrong. I still don't love Halloween, but that was great because I was surprised. I was surprised. I don't like
no, Halloween's like a U.S. national holiday. See the distraction?
No,
it's called a row.
I don't like Halloween. I don't know what to say.
What does that have to do with anything?
Because
All
I
right.
hate our Halloween party. It's too much for me. It's
it.
just
That's okay.
overwhelming to me.
Here we begin now for the next one. We'll tape
Oh,
that and see that.
I'm just giving you guys examples of how to do this stuff wrong. The example, project forward stuff too fast. Yeah.
Yes. All
Live in
right.
the present. That party was awesome.
Anyways, thank you guys. Like I said, Christmas is canceled.
Christmas
Cheers.
is-
Learn to
Just wake up.
learn to make your own Christmas.
Halloween every day. Halloween every day for me.
No, learn to make your own Christmas.
You should be like, it's going to be Halloween today.
And if you're not Christmas believing, you're Jewish, then I don't know. Learn to make your own Yom Kippur or whatever it is that
It's
is important. All right. Okay.
All right.
We will see you guys next week.
Or see some of you later.
Yes.
Might as well
Yes.
talk.
Bye.
Yeah.
Yes.